The lab got a new research assistant, a kid named Alexander Reed. From the day he showed up, he was stuck to my girlfriend Sophia like a piece of gum on a hot sidewalk. Sophia made it crystal clear she was taken, but instead of ducking off, the kid just dug in, positioning himself as her new guy Bestie. I'd met him once at a team dinner. Pretty boy looks, full lips, bright teeth, a set of dimples when he smiled, the kind of face that charmed people. But all his charm was laser-focused on Sophia. He barely spared a word for me. The actual boyfriend. That night, Sophia and I were curled up on the couch streaming a movie when the shrill ring of a FaceTime call shattered the peace. Alexander's face, contorted into a look of theatrical panic, killed the screen. Sophia. The power just went out of my apartment. What do I do? Sophia didn't even look up from the TV. She rattled off a number. Call 1800 Eversource. What's that? The power company. Their automated system will log your complaint. Fast, she was already moving to end the call. Alexander's voice, immediately ratcheted up, laced with a sob. Wait, Sophia. I think I hear someone knocking at my door. What if it's a ghost? If a ghost is knocking, go to sleep and it'll get bored. Calling me won't help. I'm not coming over. But what if it's a burglar? Then calling me is even more useless. I'm a 5'5" scientist who can barely open a pickle jar. The only things I'm good for are giving my boyfriend back rubs, making him coffee, and keeping his side of the bed warm. Call 911. Without another word, Sophia hung up, rolling her eyes. Is he for real? How'd I even pass the interview? The next morning, they drove Sophia to the institute. The car had barely come to a stop when Alexander materialized out of thin air. Sophia, I did you hang up on me last night? His tone was wounded. His eyes flicked to me in the driver's seat and his expression instantly morphed into that of a kicked puppy. Oh, Liam's here too. Liam, was it you? Did you not let Sophia come help me? I'm so sorry. I was just really scared. Before he could finish, Sophia had already peeled him away from my card. Or Alexander. Having issues is not a free pass to be a public nuisance. Alexander went silent, tilting his head up, his lip jutting out in a pout. His eyes glistening. He looked like he'd just been handed a death sentence. Sophia paid him no mind. She walked straight to my window and, right in front of him, leaned in and gave me a loud, deliberate kiss. See you tonight. They picked me up early in my peripheral vision. I saw Alexander's handsome face twist into a mask of pure disgust, as if he just swallowed a fly. Alexander had joined the lab 6 months ago. On his first day, he'd clutched his dead laptop and pitifully asked Sophia to borrow one of hers. Sophia, not that wise to his games and just trying to be a good senior colleague, went on her backup MacBook when she got home that night and turned it on. She nearly flipped her chair over her desktop wallpaper. Once a sweet photo of the two of us had been replaced with a selfie of Alexander. In the picture, he was wearing a low-cut tank top, a comical dab of what looked like yogurt on the tip of his nose, and a face scrunched into an expression of coy innocence. Oh my God, what is this filth? Delete, delete, delete. Sophia had a meltdown, screenshotting the image and blasting it to the entire lab Slack channel, pinning him directly. Alexander Reed? Care to explain? His voice memo reply came almost instantly, dripping with saccharine sweetness. Oh my gosh, Sophia, I'm so sorry. I meant to send that picture to my mom. I must have set it as the wallpaper by accident. I'm so clumsy. Oh, so the handsome guy in the old wallpaper is your boyfriend. Liam is so hot. Not like me. I'm so soft. Everyone always picks on me. Please don't be mad, okay? I'll bring you some homemade cupcakes tomorrow to make up for it. Sophia tossed her phone away after the first sentence. Like it was contaminated, she burrowed in my arms, muttering. My ears hurt. It's like being attacked by a flock of ducks. I could only pat her back. He has a fresh-faced grad student. It's normal for them to get a little crush on a smart, beautiful senior researcher, and Sophia was beautiful. Sharp, intelligent features. A straight nose when she was quiet. She had the serene grace of a marble statue when she opened her mouth. Well, she was still a person first. She politely shot down his apology in the Slack channel. Then she pinged me Institute's HR manager. HR quick question. Is inability to operate basic computer functions, like changing a wallpaper, now part of your hiring criteria? Just wondering what that makes the rest of us who had to jump through hoops to get hired here. Feeling undervalued. I'd like to request a raise. I heard Alexander got called in for a chat with his supervising professor in HR the next day. The kid obviously didn't get the message. He found Sophia again, and this time he was even bolder. He asked her out. Sophia was stunned. The next morning at 6, I was jolted awake by her getting out of bed. I opened my eyes and almost had a heart attack. Standing by the bed was a woman in a skin-tight, fire engine red tracksuit, wearing bedazzled Crocs over-tip socks and a massive, hideous faux fur coat patterned with howling wolves. What do you think? Why, Sophia nodded at her reflection. Satisfied if I look this terrifying to you through the rose-colored glasses of love. Imagine the devastating effect this outfit will have on him. Perfect. I'm off to work. She had clearly misunderstood my horror. I swear I have no rose-colored glasses when it comes to her fashion sense. I was attracted to her purely for her face. As for this, I put in an emergency request with my boss for a 3-day business trip that same morning. Sophia was distraught, wailing over the phone that night. I was wrong. I'll stop with the performance art. Please come back. The apartment is empty. I can't possibly fill it all by myself for the last 6 months. Alexander's nonstop, creative harassment had pushed Sophia to the brink. I couldn't watch it anymore. I decided it was time to step in and teach her how to play hardball. Friday was their lab's weekly happy hour. I was working late and didn't go as I was wrestling with a project proposal. My phone started vibrating off the desk. It was the big institute-wide Slack channel, the one that included spouses and partners. I figured it was just another flood of group photos, until I opened a video Sophia had just posted in the clip. The bar was chilly, maybe 60 degrees tops. Everyone was in jackets except for Alexander, who was wearing a sleeveless tank top. He stood up holding a beer, and said in a high-pitched, affected voice, "Hey ladies, do your boyfriends always nag you about drinking too much? They're so controlling. It's so annoying. They know I'm a guy. But I hate all those dumb rules. My mom raised me like a daughter. So you can all just think of me as your best girlfriend." As he spoke, he went from one female colleague to the next, clinking glasses, draping his arm over their shoulders. When he got to the male colleagues, he just twisted his hips and skipped right past them. The video ended immediately following it. Sophia posted a message, pinging everyone. Here I read online that this kind of behavior is called being a toxic soft boy. What do you guys think? Is the term fit? The channel exploded? Male colleague immediately went off. What s with only toasting the women? Are the guys sitting next to them invisible? And what's with the unsolicited touching? Are the women here just props for your creepy little performance? And best girlfriend, what kind of girlfriend are you? Did your mom make you wear dresses? No? Then shut your mouth. Your parents must not have raised you to be a person at all. If they taught you to grovel and claw at people like a desperate little dog. Others chimed in, telling Alexander to get a grip and learn some boundaries. That night's happy hour broke up in chaos. Sophia came home early. I was showing her the drama unfolding on Slack when Alexander's call came through. He was crying so hard he could barely breathe. I put the phone on speaker, turning the volume all the way up so his pathetic sobs echoed through the living room. I hadn't wanted to escalate things this far, but he pushed and pushed. He had no one to blame but himself. I thought that would be the end of it, that he'd finally lay off. Instead, in the early hours of the morning, Alexander started posting long, rambling voice memos to the Slack channel. When I played one, his voice was trembling, thick with tears. "I'm so sorry to all my senior colleagues. You were right to be angry. It's all my fault. But I can't help it. My parents always wanted a girl, so they raised me like one. They never loved me. The only thing I knew how to do was to try desperately to please people. My mom didn't like me and my older brothers all pushed me away. I've always been terrified of other guys, so I only felt safe around women. I swear I didn't mean any harm. I know I'm annoying. I just wanted to fit in." He was sobbing hysterically, the sound punctuated by ragged, choked breaths. It was a truly pitiful performance. By the next morning, a tide in the group chat had turned. A woman named Brenda Morrison suddenly took it upon herself to dispense justice. Her husband, Professor Morrison, was a big shot at the Institute, a titan in his field whose guidance Sophia often relied on. For her own projects, Brenda leveraged that connection, carrying herself with an air of arrogant authority. "You're all grown men. Why are you speaking so cruelly?" she typed. "Alexander has had a difficult life. Shouldn't we all be more compassionate? And besides, at the happy hour yesterday, Sophia Vance, how could you post a private video of him to the entire group? Did Liam put you up to that?" The accusation was aimed squarely at me. Brenda went on to lecture nearly everyone who had spoken up the day before. Her message was clear: protect the poor, fragile little brother. Her irate silence the channel. Finally, her husband, Professor Morrison, stepped in to smooth things over. He said last night's get-together had been cut short and proposed another dinner, suggesting everyone bring their partners on the night of the dinner. Sophia was rummaging through her closet. She pulled out a dusty, studded leather jacket. "What's with that?" I asked. Looking at the aggressively defensive piece of clothing, Sophia slipped it on, spun in front of the mirror, and raised an eyebrow at me. "Physical defense, ever heard of it? In case someone decides to accidentally fall into my arms, if he tries to pull anything, I'll poke his face full of holes." I had to laugh. My girlfriend, the human porcupine. When we got to the restaurant, Professor Morrison pulled Sophia aside to talk about a project. The moment I was alone, Brenda marched over, for a face a thundercloud of judgment. "Liam, don't you think you owe Alexander an apology? He's just a young man and you instigated all this bullying against him." Sophia had just finished her conversation and walked up in time to hear the last sentence. She immediately stepped in front of me. "What did my boyfriend do wrong? Why should he apologize?" Professor Morrison tried to pull at Brenda's sleeve, but she shook him off, her eyes like daggers on me. "You, Ray, all colleagues in the same lab. Does it look good to be this hostile? You should have a bigger eye. Liam, what kind of person holds on to petty little things like this?" Even Alexander seemed taken aback by that, but he recovered quickly, waving a magnanimous hand at me. "That's okay. Liam, it was all a misunderstanding. I know. You weren't targeting me on purpose." My gaze drifted past Brenda and landed on Alexander. A slow smile spread across my face. "Speaking of which, Professor Morrison, that new in Europe tide-wide project you're launching, are you still looking for people? Alexander's background seems like a perfect fit. Maybe you should apply." Alexander advised lit up. Professor Morrison's project was the golden ticket at the Institute. Getting on that team meant your career was made. He forgot all about me, scrambling to his feet to toast the professor. "Professor Morrison, if there's anything at all I can do to help you, just say the word." His voice was sickeningly sweet. Brenda's face darkened as she watched Alexander's fawning display. Alexander quickly pulled out his phone, leaning in to add Professor Morrison on WhatsApp. The moment his screen lit up, that familiar, nearly nude selfie wallpaper was on full display right in front of Brenda's face. "What the hell is that?" Brenda's shriek cut through the air. "What are you trying to look like a slut for? So young and already so shameless." "And no, Brenda, it's just a picture of me," Alexander stammered, trying to hide his screen-on teeth. "Play dumb with me. You're just trying to show off your sleazy body, aren't you?" Brenda's fury ignited with her permanent hair and thick, dramatic eyeliner. She always looked ready for a fight. She was a renowned terror, and fortunately for her, she was up against Alexander, the master of passive aggression. Tears instantly welled in his eyes. He started crying, his voice trembling. "I just took this picture too. For remember what I looked like when I was young, so when I get old, I can— What did you just say? Are you calling me old? Brenda snatched a glass of red wine from the table and hurled its contents straight at him. What are you doing? Professor Morrison jumped up to restrain her. A move that only added fuel to the fire. Why are you stopping me? Are you defending him? You think I don't know about you and that little grad student? We're not done with that yet. Brenda, completely lost it, the entire table stared, their faces a gallery of shocking morbid fascination. Professor Morrison, his face burning with humiliation, slapped Brenda across the face. Brenda screamed a raw animal sound and lunged at Alexander. Scratching and clawing, the two of them collapsed into a tangled, flailing heap. Alexander was no match for a woman fighting like a cornered wolverine. He finally managed to grab his phone and flee the room. Professor Morrison, mortified, dragged the still screaming Brenda out after him. From the hallway, we could still hear Brenda's piercing curses echoing down the corridor. From that day on, Brenda became a regular fixture at the institute, taking every opportunity to snipe at Alexander. She only calmed down a little when the official roster for Professor Morrison's project was released in Alexander's name. Wasn't on it, but it was clear Alexander hadn't given up on Sophia. It was a lazy weekend morning. Sophia was restlessly stirring fires, and the temperature in the bedroom was steadily climbing. Just as someone was about to get their way again, Alexander's number flashed on her phone, as welcome as a death sentence. The first time she declined it, he immediately called back after the third time. Sophia's patience snapped. She blocked his number. The world was quiet for a glorious 5 minutes, before the building's front desk called my phone. Mr. Connor, there's a Mr. Alexander Reed at the front entrance. He says he's here to see Miss Vance. Sophia lifted her head from my chest, her voice tight with suppressed rage. Who does he think he is? Does he have no self-awareness? I shook my head and asked the concierge, did he say what it's about? He said he brought a homemade cake. He wants to smooth things over. Before he could finish, Sophia snatched the phone from my hands. As not seeing him, tell him to get lost. What? Do you let any stray dog into the building now? If he harasses us again, I'm calling the police. She slammed the phone down. I heard later that Alexander waited at the gate for half an hour before shuffling away that night. He used a different number to text Sophia. Sophia, I don't know why Liam hates me so much. I brought a cake I baked myself. I just wanted to make peace. But I guess not. I'm so lonely in the city when I see you. I just feel a connection. I really don't mean anything else by it. Are you asleep, Sophia? I took Sophia's phone and typed back a reply. She is— you have a problem. You talk to me to be more accurate. Sophia was sleeping on the couch because I had banished her there. I couldn't handle her weekend full throttle seduction mode and had ordered her to go cool off. A few years ago, when Sophia was finishing her PhD, it was grinding to support us. I'd sometimes just crash at the office after a while. She started sending me what she called thirst traps, pictures of herself shirtless, in black stockings, with a delicate silver chain resting on her collarbones, all with one goal, to lure me home. Thinking about it now, I still couldn't help myself. I got up and went to check on her. Sophia was curled up on the sofa, her eyes squeezed shut, muttering under her breath, so cold, but not as cold as a broken heart. When beauty fades, love withers. He's tired of me, the novelty is worn off. Poor me, a maiden fair. My body and my heart both play for a fool. I fear I should be trapped in this prison of sorrow forever. I walked over and cleared my throat. She didn't open her eyes, still fully immersed in her one-woman show. It's more convincing if you don't close your eyes when you're complaining, I said, unable to resist. And if you're cold, pull up the blanket. The only reason Sophia could see through Alexander's manipulative games was because she was a master of them herself compared to Alexander's cheap tricks. Sophia was a grandmaster. The way she pursued me was a saga of strategic genius. She'd come and pick me up from my internship and I'd be brain dead from overtime with no desire to talk to anyone. Then she'd send me a short video. It suddenly started raining. I ran so fast I almost got soaked. But I bought an umbrella so I can walk you home in the video. Her hair would be damp, water droplets clinging to her face as the camera bent down just enough to show her white t-shirt soaked through and clinging to the curves of her body. A 15-second clip was all it took to shatter my will to work by all logic. Sophia and I, two workaholics, should never have ended up together. It was entirely thanks to her endless arsenal of clever, playful tactics that she had me completely wrapped around her finger. I just love you. What's so wrong with that? Sophia mumbled from the couch. Her eyes widened, pleading, so, can I come back to the bedroom now? After a long, drawn-out silence, I finally admitted defeat and turned back toward the bedroom. Sophia's face broke into a triumphant grin. She sprang from the couch like a cat that had successfully stolen a treat and scampered in after me. On Monday, Sophia went to work refreshed and in high spirits. She ran into Alexander right at the entrance to the institute. Sophia, don't talk to me, we were not friends. She didn't even break hers. Tried seeing the blood drain from Alexander's face, but Sophia, in an excellent mood. She blew a kiss toward me in the car and sashayed into the building. I was about to pull away when Alexander walked right up and knocked on my window. I rolled it down. He looked at me, the corners of his mouth lifting into a smirk that was nothing like his usual soft boy act. It was a challenge. His voice was light, almost breezy. Liam, your girlfriend? I like her a lot. Can you give her to me? My hands tightened on the steering wheel. I'd met shameless people before, but never anyone who would try to steal someone's girlfriend so openly. Are you kidding me? The words were ground out from between my teeth. Don't she hit him. I told myself I'll fall over and sue you for enough money to buy a new car. You made it into this institute, so you can't be an idiot, I said, leaning forward. My voice low and dangerous. You, Ray, obviously you're smart, capable guy. Why are you so obsessed with someone else's girlfriend? I'm not lecturing you, I said, looking at his young face already twisted with a bizarre ambition. I just feel sorry for you. You're always lowering yourself, trying to suck up to people. At that dinner the other night, I saw you secretly take something. I over pills. You, Ray, allergic to alcohol, aren't you? Or you just can't hold your liquor? Why do you do that to yourself? Alexander's face went rigid, then he glared at me. His eyes filled with venom. You think you've won? It's you who turned yourself into a tool. First let's be real. Any woman who could be won over by my methods isn't much of a prize to begin with. I allowed a vicious, ugly laugh. If you don't care about morality, if you don't care what Sophia thinks, and you're determined to use your pathetic little tricks to steal her, then I don't care either. A woman who can't resist that kind of temptation isn't one I want anyway. With that, I started the car and waved him out of the way in the rearview mirror. Alexander was frozen in place, his gaze fixed on the cold concrete like a doll that had suddenly had its soul ripped out. I thought things would finally die down after that. Sophia even said that Alexander had been keeping a low profile after a stern talking to from his professor in nature. Then, during a lunch break, a co-worker, Kevin, sidled up to my desk, phone in hand, looking hesitant. Hey, Liam, you're an Aquarius, right? Yeah, why? Are you and Dr. Vance? Are you guys doing okay? Kevin finally just handed me his phone. You should see this at a Reddit post that's blowing up. I don't know, man. The description just sounds a lot like you. I rarely went on Reddit. I clicked the link. It was a post on our relationships written in the first person by a user named Alexander C. The long, tear-soaked story of victimhood. The post painted a vivid picture of how a young professional was inappropriately pursued by a senior female colleague, implying Sophia lending him her laptop, constantly checking on him, which in turn provoked the jealousy and insane persecution of her narrow-minded boyfriend, Mr. Stubborn, the clear Jabitmu. He claimed I had spread vicious rumors, publicly humiliated him, and led a campaign of bullying against him at work parties. Every word was designed to portray him as a delicate flower being crushed under my boot. The comments section was a wildfire of outrage, with users demanding the toxic boyfriend be exposed. The original poster then reluctantly revealed a few key details: my approximate age, my line of work related to scientific research, my astrological sign, and the city I lived in, like pieces of a puzzle. Those fragments quickly led people to my one and only public social media account. My Twitter profile, my DMs were instantly flooded with a tidal wave of vitriol. Alexander. A cyberbullying campaign was devious. Did he really think that just because Sophia had blocked him, all the evidence had vanished? So naive. Even though she blocked his number, she had logged into iMessage on her MacBook, and all of his manipulative, cloying texts were sitting right there in the chat history. That night, I borrowed Sophia's laptop, opened her messages, and took a series of screenshots. I posted them directly to Twitter. Screenshot 1. Alexander, Helium was looking at me so angrily today. Did I do something wrong? Sophia, that's how my boyfriend looks at cockroaches. Alexander, I don't like cockroaches though. Does that mean Liam wasn't even looking at me? He doesn't want to see me? Sophia, correct Alexander, is it because I'm your colleague that he hates me so much? Why is he like that? Doesn't he let you have your own friends? I don't mean anything by it, I just feel bad for you. Screenshot 2. Alexander. Chloe, I swear I changed the wallpaper by accident. Was NT on purpose. Puppy _board _cries JPEG. Sophia, it's my backup laptop. You're asking me how to set a wallpaper? You have a computer science degree. How did you graduate? Also a reminder. Metal earrings are not allowed in the sterile lab area. If I see you wearing them again, you can write a formal incident report for HR. My caption was shortened to the point. Funny. I don't remember my girlfriend ever showing any interest in you. You asked to borrow the laptop. She questioned your fashion choices because you broke lab safety protocols. What's your goal here? Trying to get yourself cancelled? With hard evidence on the table, the court of public opinion reversed its verdict instantly. The furious mob turned its attention to Alexander's accounts, burying him under an avalanche of condemnation. A few days later, he posted a late-night selfie. He was in a silk pajama top, the collar artfully open, his eyes red-rimmed, a single tear poised to fall. The caption read, I always believed the world was a kind place. I guess I was just too naive. I've never been liked. I'm just so tired. As expected, a chorus of adoring sisters flooded his comments. Dawn, Teak Rai, sweetie. My heart is breaking for you. He is so handsome. No wonder people are spreading rumors about him. The tone quickly devolved, with some users even sending him explicit photos in his DMs. I had no patience for his performance. I compiled all the screenshots, links, and abusive messages I'd received into a single file and walked straight into the local police precinct to file a report. The next day, a shrill, furious voice exploded from my phone. Who told you to call the police? Are you trying to ruin my son? It was Alexander's mother. After Alexander was called in for questioning, she had immediately tracked me down. What did my son do wrong? It's just some woman. So what? Why couldn't you just let him have her? You're just jealous that my son is young and handsome. Do you have any idea who his father is? Arthur Cole? He's not someone a little nobody like you can afford to cross. If you know what's good for you, you'll drop the charges right now or I'll make your life a living hell. After she hung up, my personal information was, as promised, plastered all over the internet. Harassing phone calls and abusive texts started pouring in. When Sophia found out, she confronted Alexander in the hallway at the Institute. Alexander, I've already filed a police report. I'm gonna make every single disgusting thing you and your mother have done public. This is not over. I'm sorry. Sophia, my mom didn't do it, I swear. I didn't know this would happen. Alexander tried to stammer out a defense. Save it. I'll see you in court. Sophia was so furious she was shaking, and it took several colleagues to hold her back. The harassment escalated. On my way home from work, I noticed a car tailing me. It kept me cool, casually turned, and headed directly for the Cambridge Bio Research Institute, where Sophia worked. The institute was in a more isolated area and the roads grew emptier. The car stuck to me like glue. I pulled up to the security checkpoint at the entrance and got out of my car. A greasy-looking man in a black tracksuit jumped out of the tailing car, rubbing his hands together as he lunged toward me, his eyes gleaming. "Hey there, handsome. How much for a night?" Before he could finish, 4 or 5 security guards in tactical vests armed with batons appeared as if from nowhere and tackled him to the ground. The man stared at me in terror. I pointed to the large, prominent sign on the wall next to us. RESCRCA, or CHFAC, ILITYRISTRCT, ICEDA, CSS. Then I turned to the head of security. "Captain Lee, this car has been following me. Looks suspicious. My car was registered in a familiar site. An unknown vehicle tailing it into the restricted zone was an automatic red flag." At the police station, the man in black folded instantly. "Officer, it wasn't me. I was paid to do it. Woman hired me. She said to just scare him a little, make him break up with his girlfriend." The trail quickly led to Alexander's mother. Alexander rushed to the station when he heard. And when he saw his mother being questioned by the police, he froze. "Mom, are you insane? How could you do something like this?" "Shut up," she screeched, slapping him hard across the face. "Who do you think I'm doing all this for? It's for you. You useless thing. You can't handle it yourself, so your mother has to clean up your messes." Alexander's mother was taken in for questioning, but she denied everything outside the station. Alexander stood with his head bowed, looking like a defeated child. "You really didn't know?" I asked. His voice was barely a whisper. "The Post. She's the one who's sending the pictures." "The ones he showed you." He was talking about the man in black. After giving my statement, I made it clear I would not be accepting any apologies and was preparing to leave with Sophia. Suddenly, Alexander erupted, screaming at us. What was I supposed to do? Do you have any idea what my life has been like? Everyone called my mom a homewrecker. They called me the bastard son who should have never been born. They called us trash. It was my mother who taught me, if you want something, you have to fight for it. If you want a woman's heart, you have to use tricks. I forgot how to love someone normally a long time ago. He broke down, sobbing uncontrollably, sinking to the ground in a heap. He clawed at his own hair. The man, completely undone, his cries filled with 2 decades of accumulated shame, rage, and despair. Seeing him like that, the anger I felt got stuck in my throat. "Your mother was wrong," I finally said, my voice hoarse. "Why did you still listen to her? You don't even love yourself, Alexander. How can you expect anyone else to?" Alexander's mother refused to confess to anything, and the man in black changed his story, claiming he was just harassing me because he didn't like my face with an incomplete chain of evidence. He was ultimately held for a few days on a disorderly conduct charge after that. Alexander was like a different person. I heard he submitted his resignation. His mother showed up at the institute causing a scene. "I put you through all those years of school. I told you it was useless, but you wouldn't listen. Now, you have a great job and you're just gonna throw it away. Without a respectable career, how are you gonna land a rich wife? All you have going for you is your youth, your looks, and this job. Without them, you're nothing. Everything I do is for you. Why do you think I've lived with the world calling me a home wrecker all these years?" I was waiting for Sophia by the entrance and witnessed the whole ugly drama. Alexander just stood there, numb, letting his mother's shrill voice scrape against the ears of everyone present enough. He suddenly roared, his eyes shot with blood. "You only did it for yourself, for your money and your fancy life. Dad never loved you. When are you gonna wake up?" "You're lying." His mother, completely unhinged, lunged at him, tearing at his hair. The two of them grappled with each other right there at the entrance to the institute. A pathetic, Shocking spectacle. I looked away, took Sophia's hand as she emerged from the building and walked quickly away before he left. Alexander brought a small cupcake for everyone in the lab. They were simple, almost plain. Nothing like the elaborate creations he used to make for Sophia. Maybe this was what he was really like. As a small gesture of goodwill, the team held a small farewell happy hour for him. "I'm sorry, everyone. I can't actually drink," he said, his face pale. He managed a bitter smile. "I'll toast you all with this iced tea." He raised his glass and drank it down in one go. I had a couple of beers and stepped out onto the restaurant patio for some fresh air. I heard footsteps behind me. "I'm leaving," Alexander's voice said it as cool as the night air. He looked up at the city sky where only a few dim stars were visible. A single tear slid down his cheek. "I'm getting married." I was surprised. "To who?" He let out a low, hollow laugh. "I don't know. Some 40-something-year-old woman. I think her kid's already in middle school. A business partner of my father's. He didn't want to sacrifice his real son. So he's shipping me off." The bastard. He picked up on the side. He lowered his head, his tears hitting the cold stone floor. "It's all over my whole life. It was never really mine to begin with. It. Assault, just sand." The wind blew, carrying the chill of late autumn. I didn't know what to say. I took half a step closer to him, just to block some of the wind. Just then, I heard a faint scuffle behind me. I thought it was Sophia coming to find me. The moment I turned my head, a rough black bag was yanked down over my head at the same time. A hand holding a cloth with a sharp chemical smell clamped down hard over my nose and mouth. A strange, sweet scent flooded my senses and my consciousness dissolved into blackness. When I came to, I was in a cold, cavernous space that smelled of rust and dust. An abandoned warehouse. Alexander and I were tied to separate chairs. "Damn it. Why'd you bring him too?" A coarse voice grumbled. It was a man in black. He was staring lecherously at Alexander. "You're just starting to wake up. Who cares? He's a pretty one. Give me something to have fun with." The man sneered, his grimy hand reaching for Alexander. Alexander, terrified, started screaming and struggling. "What are you doing? I'm your employer's son. Let me go." "I'll give you whatever you want, money," the man in black roared with laughter. "I don't need money. I helped your mom because she sent me a whole album of yours special pictures. It's real hot stuff." He pulled out his phone. His screen's glow illuminating his twisted face. When Alexander saw what was on the screen, his face went deathly white. "Now, that's impossible. How could she?" Alexander's scream was sharp enough to pierce the roof. Another man, this one with a long scar on his face, started walking toward me, a predatory look in his eyes. "Boss, what about this one?" He had just reached out a hand when the warehouse's rusted metal door was violently slammed open. "Police, don't move." The scar-faced man flinched, a glint of steel flashing in his hand as he pressed a small knife to my throat. "Don't come any closer. One more step and he's dead." Sophia rushed in with the police. Seeing the knife at my throat, her voice cracked with fear. "You dare touch him and see what happens. I'll touch him. What you gonna do about it?" The man snarled, his wrist tightening in that split second. Every muscle in my body tensed with a violent surge of strength. I snapped my hands apart. The zipped eyes, poorly secured, broke in the man's shocked gaze. I twisted around, grabbing the wrist of his knife hand and executing a vicious shoulder throw. A sickening crack echoed through the warehouse, followed by an agonized scream. The man in black's, "Oh, what happened?" and charged at me. I sidestepped his clumsy attack and kicked him squarely in the back of his knee. He shrieked, collapsing to the ground. I followed through with another kick that sent him flying into the wall, where he slumped into a boneless heap. The police swarmed in, pinning both men to the floor. "I told you not to touch him." Sophia ran over, grabbing my hands, her voice trembling with relief. She didn't forget to explain to the stunned police officers. "One time before we were even dating, I snuck a kiss on the back of his hand and he reflexively slapped me. So hard he gave me a minor concussion. The cops' expressions changed as they looked at me. And Duda still ended up together. Sophia beamed as if it was the most obvious thing in the world. Well, yeah. I'm crazy in love. He'll defend me today. And tomorrow, he'll conquer the world for me. I know a good investment when I see one. I cleared my throat. Yeah, that. I've just had a few years of training. Boxing, Krav Maga, some do-jitsu. My dad was worried I'd get picked on, so he made sure I knew how to handle myself. The lead officer swallowed hard. Right, Mr. Connor. After we finish the report, we're gonna need you to come down to the station to file a statement. The police eyed Alexander as he was being helped out of the warehouse. He saw his mother racing toward Alexander. Smack the sounded the flap was shouting clear. Alexander, using every last bit of his strength, had struck his mother across the face. His voice was as cold as ice. Don't. You make me sick. In the interrogation room, the man in black sang like a canary. It turned out he'd been Alexander's mother's lover for years. Lately, as she dazed, he'd grown tired of her to keep her back that while. A man who was attracted to both men and women. She had psychopathic ally started sending him her own son's suggestive photos to keep him interested. The kidnapping was a fact. The evidence was overwhelming. The legal team I hired moved in swiftly. Alexander, with his own lawyer, also pressed charges against his own mother for invasion of privacy, conspiracy, and a host of other crimes. The storm finally passed. Alexander left the institute, disappearing like a drop of water into the urban ocean, slowly forgotten by everyone. On our 3-year anniversary, the sun was bright and warm. Sophia, wearing a stunning white dress, got down on one knee in front of our family and friends and opened a small velvet box. Liam Connor, she said, her eyes shining like stars. For the rest of our lives, will you let me be the one to protect you? I smiled, and amidst the cheers and applause, I held out my hand. The days of wedding planning were a chaotic, happy blur, made even more so by the presence of a woman who had taken to talking to her ring. Oh, ring on my hand. Who's the one who won his heart in all the land? She'd whisper, lying with her head in my lap. Then she'd answer herself in a squeaky voice. It's Sophia, of course. I watched her, grinning like an idiot. Man shook my head in helpless affection. My phone suddenly lit up. It was a text from an international number. Iran. Came out of country failed you and then sorry. Alexander. My thumb hovered over the reply button for a moment. Who is it? Sophia asked, looking up. I turned off the screen, shook my head, and pulled her closer. No one. Just spam. Whether I replied or not no longer mattered. The end.